Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, I will be reading from the r/entitledpeople subreddit, so let's jump into it. Mother-in-law tried to wear white to my wedding, got shut down, and then decided my wedding was the perfect place to go no contact with everyone she knew. I haven't seen this woman in 10 years, but thought I'd share this story because a post on here reminded me of this. My mother-in-law hated me. Typical Mill bullcrap. Or so I thought. She was very unhappy about the wedding, and it made her a little crazy. The day of the wedding, she showed up in white lace, looking like a bride. My mother was so sick of her bullshit, and lost it, screaming at her. My maid of honor threatened to ruin the dress in various ways. Mel didn't really seem to care. Her behavior was just odd. Mil's own mother showed up and told her everyone was going to laugh at her when she got a drink thrown at her. Finally, Mil's fiancé came to her defense and called us all jealous and hateful. He said if I was a prettier bride, no one would pay attention. So obviously I'm just insecure. I ended up in tears because I really didn't want her to wear that dress. And at that point in time, I was afraid of her. I didn't see this part, but I guess her dad's girlfriend took her aside and told her she really didn't have to do this, and she thinks Mill is a better person than that. She offered to take her home to change. Mill, I guess, muttered, "Yeah, I don't have to do this," and left without telling anyone. Everyone was looking for her, but we did the ceremony and pictures without her. Finally, Mill reappears wearing black and walks across my reception like it was a runway. She came up to the head table and told my husband that she can't do it anymore. "No one is going to win, but I can walk away." He was like, "What the F?" And Mill literally said she meant what she said and she doesn't want to see us again. Then she told her mother that she would never forgive her and she had laughed at her for the last time. Note, she was talking loud enough that everyone could hear and the reception stopped. Then, she fucking took off her engagement ring and told her fiancé it was over. He started screaming at her and calling her names. Mill then said someday she was going to get her white dress and none of us were going to be there. She starts walking off, turned around, and told me I looked like a fat pig. I started to cry in front of my guests. The fiancé was still screaming, and the rest of the day was really ruined. My poor husband was just so confused, and that was all anyone would talk about. I haven't seen her since. She's never met her grandkids. She had another child, so my husband never met his little sister. The only person who still sees her is her dad, who swears she is a completely different person now, and gasp, nice. But I'm a little salty because I heard her wedding was gorgeous, and mine really sucked because of her. Good grief, poor OP. What a nightmare. Sounds like Mill has some very serious psychological issues that she needs to work out. Definitely needs some therapy, and after reading the comments, it is very apparent as to why Mill acts this way. She has been through a multitude of traumatic experiences, and no doubt has a lot of trauma. It definitely does not give her a free pass to act like how she did, but wow. Sorry for the vagueness, and if you want to read more about Mill's past, I'll link the original post in the description for you, because there is a lot, and some of it is quite heavy, so go ahead and read the comments to your discretion. Mother-in-law tries to control entire wedding, throws pre-wedding reception of 400 people when she doesn't get her way. This one is a doozy. All happened pre-pandemic, by the way. I will say up front that the only reason I'm still married is that my husband and I went to counseling after this debacle, and he stood up to his mother, demanded a full apology, and didn't stop raising the topic until she finally apologized. Anyway, on to the story. As soon as my fiancé and I got engaged, my Mill was trying to insist that we get married at their house in their backyard. We declined. Their house is in the deep south, and we were planning a summer wedding, so there was no way in hell I was going to be dripping in sweat in 90% humidity on my wedding day. We also told her that the wedding would be small, as we are both shy, and don't like overly large gatherings. Those pre-pandemic days when you needed an excuse to not not invite every distant cousin. She agreed and said she totally understood, and it would be nice since it was so stressful to plan her oldest son's huge wedding a few years prior. Fast forward to a few months before the wedding. She hasn't helped with almost anything. We call and visit her several times to ask for advice and expectations about the cultural aspects of the events and ceremony. Husband's family immigrated to the US, but she's basically uninvolved with the planning, which is weird because all of our siblings on both sides are pitching in and super excited. So suddenly, she calls and says she's throwing an event for us before the wedding. She's being super vague on why she's throwing it, then starts telling us all this stuff we have to do for this party while we're scrambling to do our invitations and decor planning for the real wedding. We show up, and she has invited 400 of her and father-in-law's friends and business associates to wish us good luck. It was basically a reception before the wedding for all the people who she was told she wasn't allowed to invite to the real thing. I was pretty livid about this, but was talked down by my husband, saying we had helped her fulfill her cultural expectations, so now she would be helpful and supportive of what we wanted for our wedding. How naively misguided that was. Now that the wedding is drawing nearer, Fiancé and I are deep in the to-do lists and trying to get every item checked off. I'm shedding weight from the stress of trying to handle it all and have to get my dress altered down several more times. Mill hasn't helped at all and has announced that since the wedding isn't in her home state, no one will know what to do after the wedding, and she absolutely must arrange a cruise ship for all of her relatives to go on after. The week of the wedding arrives, and there is one particular cultural ceremony that I'm dreading. It's centered around the mother-daughter bond, but I lost my mother when I was very young and didn't have many other maternal figures in my family. My husband and I asked Mill and some of his female cousins to come support me in the ritual instead. Mill waits until the event is already happening to announce that they aren't coming because the families are supposed to stay separate for this ritual. Now, my husband and I had spoken beforehand with her about this. She raised no concerns or issues and acted excited for how we had adapted the ritual to my circumstances. Now suddenly they're busy buying things for the ceremony that they had 9+ months to get, but waited until last minute. I was basically sitting alone with my brother and bridesmaids, with this priest awkwardly trying to figure out how to do this ceremony with no mom there. I was able to shake that bullshit off and focus on what mattered: my husband, the supportive parts of the family, and our friends, who were so excited to celebrate and party all weekend at the actual wedding. Wow, sounds like your husband's family is from Asia. I'm even going to go ahead and say India because I am one too, and this sounds like normal toxic Mill. I'm glad that you and your husband went to therapy over this though. I hope you have set boundaries with your in-laws' family. Yeah, bingo, definitely South Asian. I was trying to keep it vague to not make it about the culture, especially since the family is Americanized and modern. We have set very firm boundaries and are back to not communicating much with the in-laws these days. My husband is definitely learning that he doesn't have to be controlled by their games either. I think that was hard for him, seeing that they really didn't have his best interests at heart and were willing to be so selfish. I am honestly so glad to read that. I'm glad OP's husband realized that his family does not have his best interest at heart. When people have these realizations, it makes me so happy because a lot of us are guilty of letting our families treat us like trash just because, quote unquote, they're family, which I think is just something we've learned in society and we all need to unlearn it. Toxic is toxic, whether it's family or not, and I will always be an advocate for that. But anyways, that is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed those 2 entitled people / JUSTNOMIL stories. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!